Hello, this is Michael Clark, and I will be talking to you about my presentation for the course English Language Learner Considerations in Teaching. I'll be focusing on ELL students, where they come from, and then how can we better service these students in different events at our school. Specifically, I will be focusing on back-to-school orientation and how to make sure that we are servicing these ELL populations correctly, and that we are mindful to the different needs of these participants to make sure that they have an engaging experience that is positive. I'm going to jump right into my presentation here. My name is Mr. Clark, or Michael Clark, and I am originally from England. I came to the U.S. when I was very little, and I've been in the public school system and private school system ever since. And I'm currently teaching at a Title I school in Florida, and that means that our free and reduced lunch rate for our students is very high, and that means that we are eligible for Title I funding. I'll get into that a little bit later. I'm also the CTE, Career and Technical Education Program Assistant for our county, and that means I assist the director in training new teachers in the STEM electives for middle school. I'm primarily focused on hands-on learning and servicing students in grades 6 through 8. So the professional development that is needed to make sure that we're servicing our ELL students when it comes to events like orientation event at school, the setting that I'm going to use is my current educational setting, which is Southwestern Middle School in DeLand, Florida. And the event is going to be a back-to-school orientation for the 2019-2020 school year. And I'm going to make sure that we are having a focus on inclusion of cultural and linguistic backgrounds of diverse learners into school events. That's our main focus, and everything that I'm going to be talking about is how to develop and foster that educational setting that is not restricted and is very open to all types of learners. So here's a little bit of a breakdown of our school. Again, we have Title I status due to all of the high number of free and reduced lunches that our students receive, and our demographics breakdown with the different percentages: white of 47.2, black 24.7, Hispanic 21.8, and others 6.3. And this data was gathered from online Google search. So back to school orientation 2019 outline, and I'm going to shorten that down to BSO, and that's going to represent back to school orientation. The BSO Committee is going to be in charge of identifying all the needs of the learners and participants that will show up to this school event. They're going to set goals, dates, and develop professional development that is meaningful and that is relevant to our learners and participants. And they're going to take those findings and develop a plan for the following school year orientation. So it's not something that you're just going to crank out and then be done with it. There's going to be follow-up and implementation and growing from this experience as a whole, so that we can better serve our learning members. The committee members will be comprised of teachers who are not mandated to be there. That means they need to want to do this voluntarily, because the research and some of the readings that I looked into said that if you mandate someone to do something, then there would be less of a positive result, meaning it won't be as beneficial to the participants involved if they're forced to be there compared to if they volunteer to be there and volunteer the time, because it could be seen as a burden otherwise. So we're going to ask for volunteers to join the committee. Minimum requirements that I came up for the committee be at least again, this is the minimum requirements. It could be a lot more, but at least 2 teachers, at least 1 administrator, at least 2 parents of currently enrolled students at this school, and at least 2 or more members of the community/business partners. So again, we want to make sure we have a voice that is represented from lots of different avenues in our committee. And so this is our needs assessment and engagement for our back to school orientation. There will be a survey sent out prior to the event to assess the needs of the participants. And then this way we're giving the participants a voice using SurveyMonkey or something like Flipgrid, where they can video record their responses to gain feedback before and after the event. So we can see what the needs of our participants will be before, and then we can get feedback from the event after, and then we can grow and keep making it better for the following years. Having materials available in different languages will reach more families and will be more welcoming to have different languages and translated for those students and family members. Something that we like to do at Southwestern is to make sure that every family member is invited. So it can be anyone that is involved in that student's educational learning is invited and welcomed, because they may have had a negative experience in their own educational journey. So we want to make sure that it's a relaxed and low pressure situation, so that they don't feel like it's a negative and they already have those preconceived notions of their negative experiences that they are bringing with them. So we want to make sure that everyone's invited and that no one is excluded from this. And to make sure that we can get maximum engagement, the use of the school YouTube channel and Flipgrid to pre-record presentations in multiple languages. This would be ideal for our learners. And if you can get presentations that pre-recorded by people that can translate, that's even better for our learner needs. Some challenges that can occur. Making sure that when you're making these materials in different languages that they're accurate, because sometimes when you're translating, some things can be misconstrued. Access to materials before, during, and after the event can be challenging. Like if you have just like a website or you have paper handouts, things that can get lost, you want to make sure that you're keeping these things centralized. So maybe you want to post links to your class or school website, but you want to make sure that you have these things available and everyone knows how to get there. Staff availability, especially if you're wanting to have translators available on the day of the event. Again, we were extremely limited in our current educational setting for having availability of staff that can actually speak multiple languages, and so you want to make sure that you plan accordingly for that. And again, you want to have strong and continuous support for the event. I don't want to have everyone all gung-ho at the beginning and then it just fizzles out later on, and then you're just putting a lot of responsibility on just a couple of people to make sure that you carry through. This super resource that my instructor from Capella posted for us, and I would provide the link to specific examples for engaging families of ELLs, and it takes you to this giant list where you can actually get some very specific wording that you can use with your teachers that you're training. Like, for example, speaking face-to-face with parents before and after school, providing home language print materials in classrooms. Again, all these can be applicable they can all apply to different settings like after school events, orientations, classroom meetings, student teacher parent conferences. Again, great resource, and I will post this right here for other people to click if they would like to get more specific examples. So what is the plan? So 1 to 2 months prior to the event, the BSO committee would be created, the needs assessment would be conducted, and you would survey the accommodations needed of the participants of the orientation. Before, during, and after the event, the committee needs to be holding meetings. They don't need to be super long, but they do need to make sure that they happen consistently so that you can make sure you're identifying all the needs of the event to make it engaging for all parties involved. And that the before, during, and after the event, that resources that are being produced, printed, and uploaded are maintained and updated. That seems to be one of the main challenges that we face usually, where you make a change to something, but if you don't update it on like the website or on the school Twitter account, then different dates and times that can make challenges for participants. And we're going to continue this plan. So the committee needs to make sure that they have follow-up meetings and that resources that are printed and updated are still maintained. They will be in charge of maintaining those items and address feedback from the event, like in the form of Flipgrid responses, like video responses, where students or parents can scan a QR code and leave a message for the committee. Or even just paper responses if they don't have a device. Then they can handwrite their responses. The results from the questions and answers and surveys will be posted on school website, online platforms, paper handouts, and an all-call message on where to find this information will be sent out to the school students and parents. So thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to take a look at this presentation. If you have any more questions or comments, please let me know. And let's continue the conversation online by following the hashtag @SMS BacktoSchool 2019 for updates and more collaboration. So if you have any ideas, make sure you shoot me a message over there. Thanks for watching.